Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I'm sitting here, and I was looking at some stuff as I was kind of going through all the things I have to work on tonight, all the stuff that I have on my mind, and I want to see if anybody's here with me tonight. If you're here and you can hear me, I want you to say I can hear you and I can see you, because I think that it's a chance for us to have an interesting conversation right about now. I was, just kind of doing what I normally do, just kind of doing my work. And somebody mentioned to me that there was this crazy thing, this little, I guess, difference thing, maybe a beef, I don't know if you want to call it that, between Tariq Nasheed and Roland Martin. And now I know both of these guys very well. I've known both of them for quite a while. I've known Roland longer than Tariq Nasheed. I've known Roland for about... I met Roland in December of 2006. So the reason I know that is because we all appeared on CNN together. It was me and him and Wendy Williams on CNN back in 2006. And we talked about Oprah Winfrey, something with Oprah Winfrey and 50 Cent or something like that. And I've known Tariq for maybe about 3-4 years. I started hearing about Hidden Colors and checking them out. And then we met in person for the first time maybe 3 years ago, in the O'Hare Airport. That's what it was, the O'Hare Airport. So I thought about both of these guys a lot, you know. As I've told you, I love Hidden Colors. I was in Hidden Colors I've been on Roland's show a couple of times. He asked me several times. I turned him down almost every time except once. Well, sorry, twice. I think I was in studio once, and I was on the air with him once. And I feel like Roland's a good host. I feel like Roland does a good job with his show. I think Roland's one of those few black news anchors that we have who is, representing in terms of, talking about the issues that black people need to talk about. I think that's pretty cool. Tariq, I think Hidden Colors is brilliant. I think Tariq is one of the most successful filmmakers in all of human history, in my opinion. And I say this because what he did with Hidden Colors is virtually unprecedented. He's created one of the very first, in this generation, true blackbusters. Blackbusters, to me, are films that are black, that have blockbuster status, that have been seen by hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, that have made tens of millions and millions of dollars, at least millions, maybe over $10 million, and also have established their own distribution and production, production, distribution, and monetization networks. Y'all don't understand. If you don't understand business, you don't understand just how difficult that is to do. Tariq, to me, is impressive because he's truly, truly a boss in that regard, and all my hat's always off to him on that. Now, before we dive into this further, if you are watching online somewhere, I hope you'll take 1 second and hit the share button or the subscribe button. I think on Facebook you can subscribe to get alerts when we join in or when we start the conversation. So if you could do that, that would be cool. Also, if you have your phone around and you feel up to it, or write this number down. If you actually want to connect with me via text message, you can text the word Boyce to 31996. Text the word Boyce to 31996, and you can actually get text messages, text message alerts when we release stuff, and I can send stuff to you, et cetera, et cetera. So Samuel says, the real black news, Boyce. Well, I don't know if I'm a news guy, but I'm a guy who knows how to talk, and I know how to think, and I know how to tell the truth. So I think that we need black media outlets that are owned by black people who work to be authentic, and I do everything I can to keep from being corrupted. I don't want, I don't take money from certain people. I don't want relationships with certain people. I don't want any of that because my goal is to just do what I'm supposed to do and be honest, and if I'm not doing that, then I don't respect myself. I can't even be proud of who I am as a man if I'm out here cooning and lying and, and flaking up, trying to be friends with people and rub elbows with people, whatever. So anyway, so with that being said, let me go into my honest to God take on some of this stuff with Tariq and Roland. First, let me give you some background on this and what's going on, why this is going down. I thought it was really funny. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'm seen as being messy for even talking about this. Maybe people think I should be silent. I should sort of sit there with this sort of very strong silence and just sort of watch it all go down. I can't do that. Some stuff I have something to say, and if I have something to say, sometimes it's going to come out. So anyway, here's the thing. All right, so basically, from what I understand, it all started with Tariq making an appearance on Dr. Drew. All right, so Tariq goes on Dr. Drew, and they're talking about the death of the sister we discussed earlier today on my Facebook page. You can probably scroll down if you want to check the live conversation, where basically, the sister Corinne Gaines, and she was shot by the police. Today we had a good discussion about it. I showed you guys the video. We talked our way through it and analyzed it and broke it down. And the way I analyze things is I don't really go a lot into claiming the right to tell you what's right and what is wrong. That's not really fun for me. That's not what I was trained to do as a scientist, as a scholar. Instead, I think it's more interesting to think about how we could all be right or all be wrong based on our own perspective, our own point of view, right? So the way you analyze Corinne Gaines' death is very much contingent upon the perspective from which you see blackness, how you see the struggle, right? And so with that being said, I think that with this Tariq and Roland situation, it's kind of in that same box. Now, so Tariq is on the air, and Tariq is doing what he does. Tariq is saying, police went and murdered this sister. It was wrong. We all know that many of the things he said, I think, are true. We do live in a crazy police state. We do live under racial oppression. We do live in a situation where the militarization of police has had a disproportionate impact on the black community. All of these things. And Tariq made that point. He made it well. It was good. So on the same show, there are people obviously who disagree. There was one guy who agreed with him, it appears. A couple other sisters that didn't agree. One sister, now somebody keeps saying her name is Yodit, Y-O-D-I-T. Is that an initial for something? Somebody tell me what if Yodit is that, if that's her name, if that's an acronym, or what that is. I don't know what the Y-O-D-I-T meant, but anyway, there's some sister on there that Tariq disagreed with, and Tariq apparently on his, I was looking at the brother's Twitter, and I saw that Tariq, this is what Tariq does. When Tariq gets mad at you, he keeps going at you and at you and at you. Like Tommy Sotomayor, it was just, going back and forth on and on. I don't know if this is to keep, attention on the work he's doing, or if it's because he's just that passionate about it, or what. I know that he had that issue with Zaza Ali. And just for the record, I'm cool with Zaza and Tariq. I tell each of them, like, y'all's disagreement is y'all's disagreement. I don't have to inherit that. I'm not going to inherit that unless I feel compelled to do so. So I actually respect both of them quite a bit. I would love to do an event with both of them because I think that they're both extraordinary. And so with this Roland thing, I went to the page and I just saw Roland. I saw a lot of conversation about Roland, and it was really interesting. Now I don't care much for Tommy Sotomayor. I don't think Tommy is. I think Tommy's sort of like a black Bill O'Reilly, if you will, maybe a black, just kind of in that. He's a little bit coonish. He some of the stuff he says is just ridiculous, and I think Tommy's smart enough to know how stupid he sounds. So I think he does it just to get attention, stuff like that. And I saw this stuff with Roland, and I think that from what someone told me, it all came down to Tariq disagreeing with a sister that was on the show. I can't get her name. People kept saying Yodit, and I was like, who the hell is Yodit? I don't know who Yodit is. But anyway, so after this happened, apparently Tariq said some stuff about her that wasn't cool. He used that term Negro bedwench. And just for the record, I'm not a fan of that term, because I think that if you disagree with a woman, you should say you disagree. I don't think bringing something like bedwench into the conversation necessarily always helps, because I don't think linking a woman's sexuality to her opinion is productive. I don't see how one has anything to do with the other. So I didn't like that per se, but I understand. But from my perspective, it sounds like he's saying she was a coon. She's cooning, right? Okay, fine. It is what it is. So then I see Roland has a Twitter comment where he says, your characterization of Yodit, again, I do not know who Yodit is, was shameful and despicable. She is a damn good sister. You are wrong for that. So that's when apparently he set Tariq off. That's when the dogs came out. So Tariq, the first thing Tariq calls out, which I think, you got to get called out for this, is he actually put up a clip And I wish I could show you guys this. In fact, actually, I'm going to try to see if I can't pull it up so you can look at it. He shows a clip where Roland is showing Hillary Clinton how to do the nay-nay or the Dougie or the ya-ya, whatever, some stupid, some dance. This Negro's literally dancing with Hillary Clinton, like showing her how to do black people dances. You can't do that, dog. That's cooning. That ain't cool. That is not cool. And so let me see if I can show you guys this so you can watch it. If you're listening on my SoundCloud channel, you can't see it obviously because it'll be audio for you guys. By the way, if you ever want to sign up for the SoundCloud, in case you want to listen on the way to work or something like that, all you got to do is go to SoundCloud.com and search for Boyce Watkins, or sign up and download the app for free, and you can get the SoundCloud app. That way you can have me around whenever you want to. Let me see if I can flip this around. I'm going to try to do a quick flip so you guys can see. First, I'm going to show, I got a couple. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to do this for the first group, then the other group. I got a couple of streams here. All right, so here you go. So I want you guys to look at this. So you see, I don't even know what dance that is. I don't know if it's like the chitlin dance or the like I want some more chicken dance. I don't know what the dance is, but or the Yazza Mazza dance. That's what it looks like to me. You ain't never. Let me repeat this. Let me say this publicly. You ain't never gonna see me on TV dancing with a white woman like Hillary Clinton. You'll never see that. This thing that you either just witnessed or you're about to witness is something you'll never see me do. If you ever see me do something like that, like if you ever see me on TV buck dancing with a white person, I want you to just walk up and I want you to like back up real far and get a running start, and I want you to kick me straight in the face. That's what I want you. I want you to kick me in the face so hard that I literally I won't be able to see no more. Because you ain't going to see me chitlin dancing with Hillary Clinton. No, I'm sorry. Or anybody else. Now, let me go deeper. Now, here's another thing that's real interesting. So, he also points out some stuff about, this thing with, he talks about the Boule, Roland being a member of the Boule. I don't know much about all of that. I mean, I've had people talk to me about it. Maybe if you have information, feel free to email it. My email address is boyce@boycewatkins.com. That's boyce@boycewatkins.com. You can send that to me. But somebody says it's a line dance, so maybe it was like the electric slide or one of those dances. Either way, if you're a serious political pundit, if you're a serious observer of politics, you shouldn't be teaching white people how to dance with black people, especially when black people are dying in the street. I don't see any serious political analysts that are white dancing with presidential candidates. I just don't see it. And the thing about it, the thing that bothers me about the whole dancing thing is these white politicians expect niggas to dance. That's what they expect. They look at y'all as a bunch of old buck dancing Negroes who don't really have anything serious to add to the conversation. That's how they see you. So personally, I'm not interested in that. If I ever sat down with a Hillary Clinton, which I probably wouldn't because they're not ready to have serious conversations. If I ever sat down with a Hillary Clinton, and she wanted me to teach her to do the electric slide, I would say, take your ass on somewhere and go find somebody else who will teach you that stuff. I'm not here to teach you how to dance. I'm here to talk to you about serious issues in the community. So I would say that's a point for Tariq. The other thing that I saw was this other thing where Roland was, out here, talking about Paula Deen and trying to, I guess, lend some kind of support to Paula Deen, which I thought was a bad look. I don't understand it. I just really don't understand why a black person would go out of their way to forgive Paula Deen. Now, if you forgive her on your own, you talk to Jesus. Jesus said it's okay. You a Jesus man or Jesus woman. Nothing wrong with that. And you say, you know what, Jesus told me to forgive Paula Deen, and you just forgive her. That's cool. But if you go out of your way to forgive Paula Deen, like you really like are going on TV trying to tell other black people, no, she's a good white woman. She good white folk. What that probably says to me, unfortunately, is that the fix is in. That you probably got invited to the table in the establishment somehow in such a way that you knew that helping them to repair Paula Deen's image was going to be personally beneficial to you. And so one thing I do know from observing Roland through the years is that one limitation that he has is that he's always been sort of trying to be a part of the assimilated or gain that assimilated Negro status. He's always been trying to sort of be accepted into these white institutions. You know, he worked at CNN. CNN pushed him out. He says he walked away voluntarily. I don't believe that. I believe Roland got into that disagreement with the LGBT community, and I believe CNN punished him for that. Now, he'll say, oh, I left voluntarily, this, and this. I don't believe that. I don't believe if Roland could have a job on CNN, I believe that he would be on CNN. I don't believe he'd be at TV One. Now, what Roland has done, though, is he's done an amazing job of developing the platform at TV One. He's been the best news. He's been the best thing for their news division that they've ever had, and has done a great job representing in a specific way. God bless him for that. But at the same time, where he lies is he lies in this very dangerous space. He's very much a part of the assimilated black person establishment. He's like sort of one of those black people that white people go to when they need to get access to other black people. He's like the black person who's going to get invited to go to the White House to sit with whoever happens to be president at the time. I guarantee you, when Hillary Clinton becomes president, not if, she's going to become president, Roland Martin will be one of the first black people that gets invited to the White House. And on that end, though, he's good for black folks in the sense that I do believe that when Roland gets in there, I believe he's really going to say some things that are going to be beneficial to the black community. So you kind of need people like that. So I'm not dissing Roland. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Roland's also very, very sensitive. Roland does not, he and Tavis Smiley both have this weird thing where you can say 9 positive things about each of them, but if you say one negative thing, give one critique, they will hate you forever. And Roland has been mad at me for 6 years because of one thing I said about him back in 2010, 2011, when I didn't agree with him on that LGBT issue. Now, y'all know me. Y'all know I don't even get real riled up on LGBT issues. I feel like the president spent way too much time focused on that and not enough time focused on the black community. Although I give him credit for what he just did on incarceration today. A round of applause for Obama on that. God bless you. Good job, brother. But I didn't agree with him, even though that's not really my issue. I kind of said, just apologize, man. When he got into it, the LGBT community, I told him to stand down. I said, look, just stand down a little bit. You don't need to fight these people like this. And I wrote it kind of in an article because I was writing articles a lot at the time, and I still do. And he got him mad. I think for him, because he's a political animal, he's like a Washington mover and shaker. He kind of enjoys sort of having these high-powered friendships and relationships with all these people. Like, he likes to be able to go to Capitol Hill and know that people recognize him. So that's who he is. That's what he does. That's fine. He's a power broker in that way. He's part of the NAACP and the Urban League elite. So the Tom Joyner crowd, etc. I'm not that guy. I don't really mix in that well with those groups. Sometimes they'll invite me in. Like, sometimes they'll see me and they'll say, okay, we like what this guy's doing, so we want to bring him in. But I usually get brought in by accident. I don't get brought in because I asked to be brought in. And so, with that being said, I think that dangerous space is that sometimes you can get to the point where you have to be real careful about doing a little bit too much cooning. I mean, so I think that the Hillary Clinton thing and the Paula Deen thing, I think that was easy prey for Tariq, and I think that this whole idea, I think Roland, he kind of likes the attention. I think that the whole thing of, like, I'm calling out every celebrity I see and challenging them to a debate. I remember back in 2009, I saw Roland at an event at it was Al Sharpton's thing. Back when I used to hang out with Sharpton, y'all know I don't talk to Sharpton no more. I don't mess with him because I don't really like where he comes from on a lot of stuff. But back then, back before I really understood a lot of this, I saw Roland there, and Sharpton was debating Sean Hannity. And I saw Roland on the side like, oh, well, he won't debate with me. He won't debate with me because I'll be too much for him. He won't debate with me. So he kind of goes right. He challenges all these people to debates. Like he did that with Wendy Williams. And then next week he was calling somebody else out. And I think that he sees that as an avenue to sort of achieve this attention that he's seeking. The attention that, or even on Twitter and Facebook. I don't know if you ever noticed. You ever follow Roland on Twitter? He literally tweets like once every 60 seconds, and he tweets all day long, and he goes live like 6 times a day, and he's on his Facebook page. Literally has a lot of like I'll tweet a lot and I'll Facebook a lot, but usually it's because there's something to talk about. Like I'll talk because there's something that needs to be discussed. Like I'll do that. But Roland will tell you like what he ate for dinner today. He'll turn on Layla Hathaway so you can listen to Layla Hathaway with him. He'll have the live stream on while he's like making barbecue. And I think that's really weird, or while he's watching the football game. So I think it's kind of like a real interesting grab for attention, kind of like a diva sort of thing, you know. So that's what I kind of see, and I'm just calling it like I see it. And I already know, like, if Roland sees it, he's gonna be mad, he's gonna be fired up. But you know, I'm gonna call it as I see it. But one thing I'll give Roland credit for, and again, he won't remember. When Roland sees it, Roland won't remember the things I gave him credit for. Roland's only going to remember what I criticized him for. That's just how it works. I figured that out. He and Tavis Smiley, they have that same thing. I mean, it's so funny because I think they're both brilliant. I think they both have done amazing things. But, you know, if you point out one thing, if you say one thing out of 20 that ain't cool, it ain't going to work. And the thing about it is I'm a scholar and I'm from academia. And in academia, somebody who really loves you, who thinks your work is amazing, is still going to give you a critique because they want you to make it better. They want you to sharpen your blade and make yourself a little bit better at what you do, right? So even if somebody loves your work, even if your research paper is going to win the Nobel Prize, other scholars, good scholars, will still come at you. They'll still say, this was good, this was good, this was good, this was good, but this needs to be better. So I'm used to that. I don't consider criticism to be hating on me or, oh, you must be an enemy or whatever. I don't see it like that. So you can criticize me. Tariq, that's an example. Tariq has criticized me a few times. I don't care. He's still my boy. I still text him. When I go to LA, you know, every now and then we'll hook up. I respect Tariq. I love him. I think he's great. Roland, I'm not mad at him, but I can tell you this: Roland has been appeared to be salty with me for a long time. He's still holding a grudge. So anyway, I wish he would kind of let go of this. It's almost a little bit bitchy, to be honest. It's like, dude, we're men, we're grown men. We're fathers. You know, we're supposed to be able to overcome this and realize, and this is important. I want everybody to understand this: that disagreeing does not mean that you have division. Who was it? Somebody was talking about a panel they had that had a good title that worked to that effect. What was it? It was like disagreement without division or something like that. It was like how you can basically disagree without feeling like you're enemies now, or you can have a healthy debate without feeling like you can't still come together and work with each other. So I don't know. Now Hassan is saying call him and squash the beef. I'm gonna tell you the honest to God truth. I've gotten this really interesting weird habit of just telling y'all what I'm really thinking, so I don't have to spin it. I'm gonna tell you, if I call Tariq and try to squash it, I think Tariq would probably listen. Roland probably wouldn't listen. Roland's in that Umar category. If I reach out to Roland or Umar Johnson, they're both so mad about something that they think that I said about them in the past that neither one of them will probably really work with me on this. Whereas Tariq, I think Tariq will be able to settle it down. I could call Mark Lamar Hill. I've disagreed with Mark on many occasions. We would still be able to talk anytime. I could call Mark anytime, and I could even ask him for favors, and we do each other favors if necessary. I'm trying to think who else. Seemed like there was somebody else in there. I can't remember. Anyway, don't matter. All right, so here's where Roland did that I thought was really awesome, though. Let me give him some credit here, because I don't want to sound like I'm bashing nobody. About 5 years ago, the Obama administration they nominated Elena Kagan for the Supreme Court, who absolutely positively has one of the most racist, horrifically bad hiring records in history during her time at Harvard Law School. And what was going on with the Obama administration was they were trying to manipulate black people into supporting Elena Kagan, even though she wasn't the right nominee for black people. She was more so a win for the Jewish community. Some people believe she was a win for the LGBT community. She was a win for the Harvard University community, which has worked very hard to protect its power on the Supreme Court, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. Roland was one of he was the only other person on the national platform. He and I, and I backed him up because he was actually doing more CNN. So at that time, I didn't have hundreds of thousands of people I could reach out to, easily. My audience was growing. Roland was on CNN, and Roland used that platform to draw attention to an article written by some law professors where they pointed out Elena Kagan's racist hiring record. I thought Roland was great on that, and I respect him for that. So I think Roland is really good for the mainstream Negro. I think Roland is good. For the black community on average. The difference I see between Roland Martin and Tariq Nasheed is this. Here's a fundamental difference between the two. Roland is a person who is seeking to sort of be a black delegate for the Democratic Party. So in Roland's mind, again, because he's a political player, because he's a highfalutin Negro, he hangs with all the elite black people. He probably knows the president of every fraternity, every sorority, every civil rights organization, lots of people in Washington, every member of the CBC. He's into all of that. I'm not going to hang out with the CBC. I don't have respect for the NAACP. Greek letter organizations, I respect them, but I don't really think much about it. I'm not really trying to be in that crowd. I'm really trying to be around black people who are just thinking, who believe in substance. I'm not into flash. The flash part does not matter to me. It's the substance that matters. I'm into black people who want to build institutions, not black people who want to be a part of institutions. But here's the thing, though. For Roland, in Roland's world, you are a coon if you support the Republicans. You are a coon if you support Donald Trump. And so you have a lot of black Democrats, those black people who are voting for Hillary Clinton. Now, these are the same black people who probably wouldn't have voted for Barack Obama until Barack won Iowa. When white people gave Barack the stamp of approval, that's when a lot of black folks started to support him. Before that, they were all in Hillary's boat. So when Obama left, they jumped right back in Hillary's boat. So you got a lot of mainstream black people. I'm talking about Negroes with jobs, corporate Negroes, black people that have, these executive positions, who aren't really part of the struggle, who read about it on TV, who sit back and cheer when Roland calls any black person who's a Trump supporter a coon. Okay, Tariq is a person who will say you're a coon if you support Trump, and you could be a coon if you support Hillary. So that's the difference. I would see Tariq is just a little further on the left. I think that Roland is like, he'll talk to the Trump girls and call them out for being coons. The video gets millions of views because everybody is like, yeah, how can that coon support Donald Trump? He'll call out the black pastor who supported Donald Trump. He called him a coon. And so everybody's like, yeah, that's right. You tell that coon and blah, 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 blah. Tariq is the guy who will say, why the hell were you up on stage doing line dances with Hillary Clinton? Smiling like you got watermelon in your mouth. I mean, it didn't look cool. It wasn't a good look. It's not. What it is that there are segments of black people who pretty much seek sort of, I guess, like-minded liberal white people to kind of give them a hand up into American establishments and institutions, right? And for part of the reason they actually have a right to do that, because remember, we built this country. We are, the people that built America. And so, this assimilation, this access to, white capital, white institutions, or white run, whatever, is part of our birthright. There's no question about that. These people would probably vote in support of reparations if it ever became a political issue. But then you have people in Tariq's space who I think, who I identify with a little more because they're more into nation building. They're a little more into sovereignty. They're a little more into developing and building our own institutions. And the reason you can tell that I relate to that a little bit more, again, it's not right or wrong. It's just what you relate to. I relate to that more because you see me in the Black Business School. We don't really teach you how to go get a job. We don't teach you how to climb the corporate ladder. We teach you how to build a corporate ladder. We don't teach you how to go get a job. We teach you how to create a job. We don't teach you how to spend your life impressing white people. We teach you how to get strong enough to give the white man the finger if that's what you choose to do. That's our MO. It's a lot harder to do that. It's not the easiest pathway to success. So not every black person is built for that. I'm wearing this shirt. I heard a few of y'all say this is a cool shirt. I wish I could tell y'all who sold it to me. I bought it in Houston at the Shrine of the Black Madonna. There was a vendor there, and I don't remember the brother's name though. But I did. He offered me the shirt for free, and I said no. According to the rules of Black economic etiquette, which is one of the books that I'm actually working on, you should not take something free from a black business unless you just do not have the money. If you can pay something, you should always pay. So when I have black folks giving me stuff, because I go out, I'm out in different places, and people will be like, "Hey, Dr. Boyce," I said, they see me in the airport. "Hey, man, I want to give you one of my shirts." If I got money in my pocket, if I see you and you give me one of your shirts, I'm not going to take it for free. I'm going to give you something. I'm either give you some cash. If I got cash, if I don't got cash, I'm going to whip out my phone and I'm going to record you so you can tell people about your website so that you can get more business. Because I do not benefit you if I'm taking stuff for free. I am not a charity case. And you should not be my welfare office. It's going to leave you broke and leave me destitute at the same time because I'm going to get addicted to begging for free shit. No, I'm not supposed to do that. If I really love you and I want to support you, I should truly support you by putting somebody, reaching in my pocket and giving you what I can. So that's where this shirt came from. And that's what I think is one of the fundamental components to to the whole nation building conversation that we have to have as black folks. Now somebody's yelling at some lady named Stephanie. What did Stephanie say? Everybody's mad at Stephanie. Okay, Stephanie says Tariq thinks it's okay to roll over black women because that's what a black man needs, according to him, to feel like a man. I just, again, being honest, Tariq and I don't always see eye to eye on some of the discussions in terms of where black women are in this. And I'm a big supporter of black women. I had one of the challenges I had, and this is where Tariq and I disagreed. He said it was a bad look that I had women on my channel that were speaking. One of them, Maria Lloyd, made a video about Umar Johnson that caused a lot of controversy. I didn't say it about Umar. I had nothing to say about Umar at the time. Later on, I had something to say when Umar started getting kind of silly with it. But before that, I said nothing about Umar. Maria went on my channel and said a lot about Umar. But the thing was, number one, I said, Tariq said it was a bad look for me to let women on my, let them on my channel to kind of do this kind of thing. And I was like, no, it's not a bad look. It should be the look that we all have as a community. We don't win as a community when we squash the voices of black women. Black women are some of our wisest, most dedicated members of the community. And in fact, they're the most tolerant because we have allowed white and Jewish generated hip hop music to disrespect black women for the last 20 years. Any black man who's listening, any black man who has even an ounce of respect for me, I hope that you'll hear me when I say this. You cannot win as a community if you step on the heads of black women. You must elevate black women. You must respect them as a collective and give them the strength and support that they deserve, because that's what I want them to give us. Long story short, now it's funny, El Shabazz says queens. I will call them queens in the collective. But, there is that conversation. Everything's reciprocity. So sometimes to be a queen, you have to behave like a queen. And we all know some of the sisters don't behave like queens. Some of our brothers don't behave like kings. Sometimes you got a lot of brothers being told to be queens. And you got sisters, that maybe are growing penises because they think that's how you're supposed to deal with the world. And I'm not a fan of any of that. I'm a fan of the balance of the black family. And I think that we have to understand what that means and figure out what that means. And we have to figure it out without the influence of white people. I don't like white conservatives in the conversation because they're racist. I don't like white liberals in the conversation because they're just a little weird. A lot of the stuff that they believe in is just weird. I'm gonna get up this morning and I feel like a girl, so I'm gonna go to the girls' bathroom. I can't understand all of that. That doesn't process for me. I'm an old school black man from the South and 45 years old, so I'm just gonna have to let other people have that conversation. Black Lives Matter. Go to the blacklivesmatter.com website. I'm a little bit concerned because they mention nothing about black fathers. If you really rip the black face off of the Black Lives Matter organization as it was established at the core, I'm not talking about every member of Black Lives Matter. I'm not talking about every person who says the words Black Lives Matter, because we can agree with them on what they believe. Yeah, black lives do matter. Absolutely. The killings of black men is an atrocity. Absolutely. But what I kind of see is what I would describe almost as a bait and switch kind of political strategy, or maybe a lead magnet as a business strategy. Let me explain what that is. Let me break that down to you. A bait and switch / lead magnet, or whatever you want to call it, will be a scenario where you offer somebody something to get them in the door. And once they get in the door, you try to bombard them with a whole bunch of other stuff. Right? Like McDonald's will say, on Tuesdays, we give free French fries away. Right? Now, they're not looking to give away free French fries. Right? They're hoping that something else is going to happen. They're giving you something in the hopes that they can upsell you. So you come in, you get the free French fries, and they say, oh, well, would you want a burger with that? Why don't you get a drink with that? You're going to eat French fries by yourself, are you? Right? Or, so ultimately, they're planning to get a lot more from you, but they're giving you the free French fries to kind of get you into the door. Black Lives Matter, to me, is an effort by the funders. The funder was George Soros, a white billionaire. It's an effort by the white liberal establishment to say, let's recruit more black people by forming this organization that identifies with certain black issues. But once they get pulled in, we're going to make them one of us. So if you read the Black Lives Matter, the principles on their website on blacklivesmatter.com, don't believe me. Don't listen to me. Don't just believe what I'm telling you. Go look at the website. Go look at the blacklivesmatter.com. Check it out. the principles are like, if you look and you do searches on certain keywords, you'll see LGBT several times. You'll see the trans community. You'll see things about the gay and lesbian community. You'll see things about undocumented workers. You'll see things about, you know, feminism and women's rights, etc., which are all fine. Everybody knows women deserve rights, no question. But I don't like feminism. I don't like extreme feminism, because one of the greatest enemies of the black male has been the white woman. The white woman has been taking all your affirmative action and giving you nothing back. You know, and I think that picture from the Huffington Post editorial board was a perfect example. There was nothing but white women in the room. I think one sister and one Indian woman. I don't think there was one single black man anywhere in that room. And there's like 14 people running this massive news organization. So black men kind of get squashed by white women. I have very little feeling that they identify in significant numbers with anything that we go through as black men. So anyway, what I see is Black Lives Matter, unfortunately. Not, and I'm not dissing those who are associated with it, but the way it was established was kind of like a front, like okay, we're going to suck black people in so that we can get them to identify with all the issues, the key talking points for every Democrat, the key brainwashing mechanisms for every Democrat, the key issues that Democrats are told to consider to be most important. We're going to lay them out. We're just going to put a black face on them. So when they talk about undocumented citizens, they are going to say undocumented black citizens. When they're talking about LGBT, they're going to say black LGBT. When they're talking about the trans community, they're going to talk about, well, I guess that's part of the LGBT. They're going to say the black trans community. So everything is kind of like white liberalism dipped in chocolate. That's what I see. It is what it is. And I think that what's problematic is not that black people can't overlap and identify with some of these issues. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that we should be able to pick and choose which issues we want to identify with. And let me give you an example. Yvette Carnell made a very clear point on our YouTube channel. This is why black media matters. This is why we built up our channel. We can reach 5 million black people a week now. So we're almost where we want to be. Yvette Carnell said black people have no economic incentive to support illegal immigration. None. So you got these white liberals telling you that you should support just rampant illegal immigration no matter what and never question it at all. That's wrong. Because if you go to Chicago, you look at the south side of Chicago, places like that, you will see that a lot of the jobs that black people used to have now been taken by people from the Latino community. Now, it does not mean that we can't ally with them. It just means we need to share resources, and there must be reciprocity. Everything we giving y'all need to be giving us the same thing. If we marching for y'all need to be marching for us. If we're giving resources to y'all need to be giving resources back to us. But for black people, we don't get that reciprocity. Therefore, we end up getting politically pimped. So another thing, I talked to Killer Mike, the rapper, the other day. Killer Mike was running around with Bernie Sanders and stuff like that. Again, I didn't like that at all. I like Killer Mike, but I didn't like. I said that. I said, man, I don't like this idea of a black man. Black men are strong. We leaders, man. Like I don't really feel like I would never feel comfortable sort of walking around like boosting up a white guy, and boosting him up in a way that he would never be boosting me. Like I can't ever imagine Bernie Sanders really going out and lobbying for Killer Mike or any white guy at that level, but they kind of expect us to do that. Like Hillary's got her little black surrogates, but I don't really know. I really wonder how much of a surrogate she would be for black people. But anyway. Mike and I were talking, and one thing that he said that was really interesting, and I kind of agreed with him. He said that he said every black man should join. In his opinion, he said every black man should join the NRA, the National Rifle Association, and every black man should have 5 different guns and learn how to use them and get them all registered, and that'll flip the whole conversation. We'll be hijacking the whole discussion about the Second Amendment and all this other stuff, right? So I was like, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. So, okay. So anyway, in case you just got here, we've been talking about Tariq Nasheed and Roland Martin and the little beef they started about this whole thing about them going. Tariq was on Headline News or Dr. Drew or something with a sister. It says Yodit. Nobody ever told me what her name is. Is her last name Yodit? Let me see here. I really need to look that up because I was trying to find out this sister's name. Let me see here. Oh, Yodit Yemaine. Okay, so her name is Yodit. Okay, I don't know much about her, but she seems pretty smart. I think she's an attorney or something. Let me see here. Oh, I'm sorry, I said Yodit Yemaine. No, that's not her name. Her name is Yodit Tiwoldi. She's a legal analyst and defense attorney, and apparently she and Roland are friends. And Roland got mad because Tariq got into it with her and said some stuff that Roland didn't like. And I thought that was interesting. And I guess because I know both of these guys, and I kind of enjoy analyzing things. I know maybe I don't even know how much people wanted me to really even bring this up, but I don't care. I just talk about what I want to talk about. It is what it is. If you don't like the conversation, you should go check out another one. And I'll just say, at the end of the day, I think. By the way, if you haven't shared or hit the subscribe button, please do that while you're here. Like, hit the little notification button so you can get notified whenever I go live if you want to come and hang out. You'll probably won't agree with maybe 30 or 40% of what I say, what happens here. But that's where you want to be. You want to be in a place that encourages critical thinking, that encourages you to see other points of view. I love being in places. I don't really gain much when I'm talking to people who already agree with me. You're already telling me stuff that I already know. I mean, maybe you're sharpening up my arguments a little bit, but for the most part, I would rather hear from somebody who says something that doesn't make any sense to me, and then I would ask them, so why do you think that? What makes you feel that way? And I think that allows you to really understand. I mean, even if your goal is to debate that person and or to debate anybody who disagrees with you, I think that's cool. Just but if you're listening to people who think that way, it gives you a greater ability to relate to what they're saying so that you can defend against those arguments. I think that right now we have a country where everybody's just divided. The liberals on one side, the conservatives on the other. They don't talk to each other. All they do is tell everybody that the other group is crazy. I don't like that at all. That's just not. It's not good for the country. It's not good for thoughtful people. I think somewhere in the middle you have smart people who just say none of this is really making any sense. None of this is cool. But you have a lot of bandwagon people who are just going to go along with whatever the Republicans say, the Democrats say, or everything else. And I thought when I heard that these two were not in agreement, I thought that it was because Tariq, from what I understood, was telling people not to vote. And I thought that was interesting that he was saying that, so clearly. I've always said people should do what their conscience tells them to do, and you should not allow anybody to do what I call voter jacking. Voter jacking is when somebody forces you into a difficult conversation. It forces you into a corner where you have to choose one bad option or the other. That's me sort of scaring you into making a decision, both of which are going to be beneficial to me, both of which are going to uphold and maintain the power structure. I don't think that's cool. And I think also this whole argument that, we got to vote for Hillary because if we don't, Trump's going to get into office and the world's going to come to an end or we're going to lose the election. I think that's a very short-sighted, narrow-minded way to look at anything, because when you vote, in my opinion, you want to play chess, not checkers. A person playing checkers is trying to win the next move. We're trying to win the White House for the next 4 years, whatever. A person playing chess says, we might lose the next election, but if we make a stand, if we do something that just throws the Democratic Party out of whack, then they're going to give us more the next time around to re-earn our vote, and we might win the next 5 or 6 elections and actually get something out of the person who gets into the White House, as opposed to getting ignored the way we typically have been. But apparently it looks like Roland and Tariq were fighting over this Yodit lady. I never heard of her, but it seems like she's pretty smart. And Tariq, when Tariq gets mad at you, he just kind of goes in for like a while, and and so he made fun of Roland's little ascot. I've never understood that ascot. Most of the dudes I know don't wear ascots and all these, like these very flowery poses. Like, that's a little weird for me. I'm not dissing it. It is what it is. But I think that if you're going to make fun, the ascot's kind of funny. The buck dancing with Hillary Clinton, showing her how to line dance, reduces your credibility as a serious political analyst. Sure, it creates a more lighthearted situation, but you let her go dance with the Jewish community, or let her go dance with somebody else. I really don't think that dancing is what is going to benefit the community. I don't think dancing with Hillary Clinton is going to get us anything out of Hillary. I think we need to sit down and show her that we're serious. I think that the Paula Deen thing, when he was so quick to want to forgive Paula Deen, Tariq called him out on that, and I think that I think that's a good thing to call him out on. And again, I think that where the interesting dynamic is, and these are just facts. This is not me being critical or not critical. But what I really see is I see Tariq as a guy who built his own. He's built his own empire. He built Hidden Colors. I'm sure TV One or BET would probably be happy to air Hidden Colors. Tariq ain't got to go to BET or TV One because Tariq is actually man enough to be able to build his own company and have his own distribution networks and develop something that will make his children millionaires. I think Roland has done a great job of partnering with TV One, which is a black company technically. The head people at TV One are black, but I've had people from TV One and Radio One come to me and complain about racism on the job, and I was like, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean racism? Like, aren't y'all black owned? And then they showed me a lot of the key decision makers within TV One are not black. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means that it's more in that space of, it's like basically with systematic racism, you have room for certain elite black people to kind of get certain opportunities, right? So when Hillary gets elected, Hillary's going to have her black people around her. You're going to see a lot of black people up in the White House, but it won't be the masses of black people. That would be the fundamental question. What happens with the masses of black people? What happens with black people who want to have serious conversations about criminal justice reform, about reparations, about the failing schools that the Democrats have supported? Because unfortunately, the Democrats tend to care more about their labor unions than they care about failing schools in urban communities. So therefore, that becomes the challenge, because that's why they pretty much will tell you, don't support anything the Republicans want to do, because they want to do vouchers and charters and everything else. And the black parent is just saying, I need my child to just be in a situation where they can go to the best school possible. So you end up with these crazy situations like Kelly Williams Bolar out of Ohio, the mother who was sent to jail because she sent her kids to a school outside their district because she didn't want her children to be destroyed by the school down the street, because our schools pretty much destroy more black children than they actually benefit. So personally, I stay out of the discussions. I don't want to talk to Hillary Clinton. I don't want to be part of that establishment. Sure, I guess I theoretically could be considered part of the elite because I have a certain degree of education, a certain degree of influence, a certain degree of wealth, but I don't want to be part of the elite. I don't want to be invited to those conversations. I'm my spirit, and again, this ain't right or wrong. This is just preference. My spirit is more in line with, say, Cornel West. That's why I identify with Cornel West, Farrakhan, Claude Anderson. I identify with Claude Anderson because Claude Anderson believes in black sovereignty. He believes in the fact that you're unique as a descendant of slaves. You're unique. So stop lumping black people in with illegal immigrants and women's groups and gay rights groups and everything else. No. We're descendants of slaves. We have our own separate space. Because what happens is they steal your affirmative action and give it out to everybody else because they put you at the back of the bus. The Democrats do this too. I identify with Farrakhan because Farrakhan is he's a sovereign builder. He's a strong man. He's a man that creates, and he's built an organization that has discipline and manhood, that restores manhood. I'm talking about fathers matter. You can develop your own institutions. You can be the boss. You don't have to coon and buck dance for nobody. You don't have to wait for anybody to invite you in. You go to a barren space and you make it yours, and you build on that land, and you that's what you leave to your children. That's why I love Farrakhan and love what he does. Cornel West, I like him because I think Cornel has this sort of very simple commitment to justice. And a simple commitment to fighting against inequities that exist in the world, no matter what it may cost him. So, Cornel will go and talk to the garbage man like he's the most important person on the planet, and you don't sort of see that fakish elitism with Cornel. Cornell, the only area we disagreed in was when we talked about Harvard University. He said he felt that Harvard has plenty of diversity, and I said I don't think it does. I said Harvard, because we were talking about the Supreme Court, and I said it's a problem that the Supreme Court has every member of the Supreme Court is from Harvard or Yale. That's an aristocracy. That's not any kind of a meritocracy. And he said, well, brother, this is how Cornell talks. I love Cornell. He said, well, brother, there's plenty of diversity at Harvard. I said, yeah, but there's not enough. That they're all still at Harvard, and there's an effort within the aristocracy to preserve power for Harvard University, and you see it all over American politics. In fact, I haven't looked at sort of the affiliations of all these major political players other than Trump, but I'm sure a lot of them kind of go to the same clubs, and they're all parts of the same institutions, educationally, economically, and otherwise. So long story short, it's really a preference. I think that there could be value and merit to what Roland does. I think Roland knows everybody. Roland, he'll be at the Essence Music Fest hobnobbing with the big shots. I think he likes the attention. I think that I really believe that if Roland could be on mainstream TV like a CNN or an NBC, I believe he would take that opportunity. He says that he doesn't want it, but I think sometimes people say they don't want it because they can't have it. But I really think that if he could have it, he'd want it. It took me time to get to that point where I could walk away from that. Before, maybe I wanted it, maybe when I was younger, but now I don't want it. Now I'm actually happy to have something of my own because I'm too crazy. I say so much stuff, I'd probably get fired anyway. But I think in this disagreement, I tend to lean in favor of Tariq. I think that Roland calling Tariq out, what's that's going to do is Tariq gets mad. When you make him mad, what he does is he'll just keep coming at you. He did that with Zaza, etc. And again, I like Zaza. I know some of y'all don't like Zaza. Y'all don't trust her and stuff. Until I see a reason not to trust someone, then usually I'm going to be okay with that person. I think Zaza is very talented. And I think also as a community, I encourage you to be supportive of black female voices. I think that black people should have, we should have male and female leadership. We should have strong female voices and give them the same respect we give men. I don't think we do that yet. And I don't think that's right. And that's something I'm going to fight on for the rest of my life. I'm a father of daughters, and I had strong women that played a major role in my life, my mother and my grandmother. And I'll be damned if I'm going to just somehow think that these women don't deserve the same respect that everybody else gets. So anyway, I'm going to get on out of here. Again, some of y'all call me messy for even bringing this issue up, but between us, I just thought it was kind of a funny thing to talk about. But much respect, Tariq Nasheed's Hidden Colors 4. We actually sell Hidden Colors as part of one of our products with Your Black World. You can actually get Hidden Colors 4 in a bundle pack where you can buy the DVD along with a free class in the Black Business School, as well as e-copies of 4 of my books. You can go to hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. That's hiddencolorsbundlepack.com. If you're interested. Also, the Black Wealth Bootcamp starts Saturday, so you can join at theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. Today is the last day you can sign up for the Black Wealth Bootcamp. They're going to shut out membership tonight, so if you are interested in taking the class, feel free. It's an awesome class. We have a money-back guarantee, but we don't really need to use it because it's literally the best class you'll ever take in your life. I guarantee it. It's better than anything you ever took in college, except universities are going to charge you $100,000. We don't charge you that. We charge you like $299, right? So anyway, I'm going to get on out of here, guys. I love you, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Talk to you soon. Peace.